And we're recording. All right, now shut up. Sit down.
Wow.
I wanted that on that record.
So they know when you.
So they know how abusive you are.
Yeah.
So they know.
Besides, she's the producer, so it doesn't mean anything.
Aren't the producers supposed to treat us that way?
Yeah, that's why I'm. That's the joke.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up and get started.
No, this is our show. You don't tell us what to do. For
I quit.
I'm out of here. Fuck you guys.
one, without us, you ain't got no show, producer.
Try to replace me.
All right. Welcome to the Bump in the Night podcast. I am your host, the Boogeyman, Johnny Zuko, along with my co-host
Ginger Snap.
and our producer, who has the voice that makes the boys feel some kind of way, Miss Moist.
It's just awkward.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
I'm
pretty
trying
awkward.
new things. Shut the
Better
fuck
confession.
up. Okay, you know what? If you can come up with something better, then why don't you write me a better intro? How about that? Anyone else have a better intro? Because I don't have one.
Not at the moment.
Okay. See, then we're just going to have to go with that one.
Let's just go with it. Moving on.
All right, so this is Elisa's idea. So,
Yeah, so I thought, I don't know, lately I've been in a nostalgia, kind of dreamy mood, if you say, if you will. So I thought it'd be fun to do an episode on horror shows for kids that we grew up with in the 90s or, late 80s, 90s, and talk about it, and also talk about how I feel like today's generation doesn't really have scary shows for kids anymore. So I really wanted to
I think
talk
it's
about
more
that.
focused on young adults more than anything.
It's more on teens.
Because if you talk
yeah.
about, if you look at, CW and
yeah.
TBS and all that stuff, they are making, vampire shows.
But it's for, 16-year-olds
yeah,
plus.
So, I mean, there is something for, young adults. But
Yeah.
as far as,
kids, 10 years old.
I don't know. I think the last one would have been, and it's off the air now, is The Grim Adventures of Bill and Mandy.
Yeah, that and, maybe Stranger Things, because they were, 11 years old?
Yeah, but see, that gears toward young adults, too.
True.
I don't think parents will let their kids watch Stranger Things. Would
I
you
know-
let
I
your
know.
kids watch Stranger Things?
All I know is every time I go to see a movie and it's rated R, there's a bunch of little kids there.
Does that bug you as a parent?
I try not to be judgmental in that way, but it bugs me as a moviegoer when I'm going to a movie as an adult, wanting to see an adult movie, and there's, a kid that's crying or runs through the aisle, or that bugs me. It also bugs me when people talk during the movies.
Yeah.
Side note.
But
No, we definitely had
we talked about that.
on Pet Cemetery Review, and
Yeah.
that was ridiculous.
But I feel like I know people that let their kids watch Stranger Things. I feel like that's kind of a good balance because there's no sex, there's not really nudity, there's not a whole lot of violence. It's a good balance, I feel.
It's all, what's the word I'm looking for? Implied, though?
Yeah, but it's
insinuated, rather. Not implied, it's insinuated.
I think that's a safe show to watch with your kids, actually. If your kid's 10 years old and your parent loves Winona Ryder, you get that. Again, it's a nostalgia. It takes place in the 80s. That's very big right now. So I feel like that's it's a good breaker for kids and parents to watch.
Compared to some other things.
Yeah. If you turn on CW and you put on
The Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, that's boobs and they don't show boobs, but they show lingerie and Stranger Things doesn't show that. It's they're literally 11 or 12 years old the first season.
Definitely from the kid point of view.
Yeah, it's from the kid's point of view.
Definitely going to be interesting how the next season plays out since they're all teenagers
Since they're getting
now.
older, yeah.
So
I'm curious.
that's definitely going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, there was a plethora of horror-themed kids shows.
Yeah.
And even adult movies were turned into cartoons.
So many.
Adult movies were turned into action figures. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Do you remember kids having the Freddy Krueger doll, a Freddy Krueger pillow?
Yeah.
That's
or a
insane.
Jason mask, they even would dress up like them for Halloween. Little kids would be little killers for Halloween.
And I remember when I was growing up, there was I remember there was always like this, like Fox would always have this Halloween special, and it was always like the Munsters.
Yeah.
And the Munsters, they would always show the same episode, but it was like, oh, this is cool, you know? And to me, that was like, oh, that's pretty awesome, you know?
Yeah.
I grew up in an era where you had the Munsters and Elvira. They're all at their peak, you know, at the height of the popularity. So I had, like, you know, that. But to me, I never had the chance to go into, like, you know, friendly kid trauma or like,
really?
or cartoons because the first thing I ever saw was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Was this before you actually watched
This was
horror
before,
kid shows?
Yeah, this was way before.
Oh, wow.
I watched Elm Street, Candyman, The Unnameable, and Hellbound all before I even watched The Witches, which is a pretty gnarly movie for a kid too, by the way. And before I even knew about the horror themed cartoons, it's like, dude,
that's crazy. That must have like affected you a lot more than
it did, because I
easing into it.
I even spoke about it too when I talk about Hellbound, how that movie fucked me up, and how like thinking being a bad person would like maybe meet these Cenobites, you know.
Yeah.
And so after a while, it's just like, man, I don't know. So, and at the time I was going to church with my nana, and so all these things are in my head, and so it's like really fucking me up as a kid, and it's just like I didn't even get a chance to see like those horror themed cartoons till like much later, like when I was like probably like 8 or 9 or so. Saw Tales from the Crypt Keeper, Beetlejuice, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. But to me, that was just like those were cool. Don't get me wrong, they were really good cartoons. But to me, it was like I wanted that dangerous thing. You know, I wanted something real. It was just like, but that was just me though growing up, because my parents were just not absentee, but they just weren't around as much.
Yeah.
Growing up.
So did those the kid horror shows, did those scare you at all when you were a little kid, or you're just kind of like, oh, this is cool?
Didn't scare me. It was just like, oh, this is pretty gnarly. Like, there's a different side to this. You know what I mean? Like, this could be funny. This could be like, you know, comedy.
Yeah.
Like, if done right, you know? And then also watching the Munsters, too. Like, the old episodes. At Nick at Night, they used to run the Munsters.
Yeah.
And then when they brought them back for, like, the 90s version. For Fox. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, you know, monsters can be funny. And for like Halloween, I dressed up as the uncle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the vampire, the Dracula.
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah, they would show that in like the Addams Family show as well. But that's what I like. The question I want to ask today is like, what happened? How did we have all these like amazing, kid or shows for kids, and today it's non-existent really? Like, what happened for today's generation? That's like what I really want to know.
I think two things. I think one, parents. I think parents got more involved in what their kids were watching, especially when you had the TV rating kicking in around the time that we were growing up, and then parents were starting to pay attention a little bit more to what was going on the TV. Like, why is this show TV Y7? Yeah. Like, why is that? Why is this TV, Y7A? Like, what does that mean? And then once parents started like looking into that, it's like, oh, this is like animated violence or something like that. And it's like, and then they started getting more involved in what their kids were watching. I think they had more control, and so when they had more control, they weren't able to get that viewership.
So do you think they also, too, because of the technology today, like parents can set up like blocking a show or blocking a network? Yeah. On like apps or something?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And then the second thing is that I think once smartphones were invented and social media, it's like, well, why the fuck do I need to watch like a horror themed cartoon show? I could watch someone actually walk in front of a street and actually get hit.
That's what I think too. I really think social media played a huge part.
That's more what it is. I don't think the parents are more savvy, like strict. I think it's less of an interest of the kids because they're exposed to more. Yeah. And allowed to see more. That's why I made the comment about going to the movies and kids being watching a rated R horror movie. I mean, they're getting to see the whole thing. They don't need it like watered down for a kid version because they're already seeing it.
Yeah, it's sad too because I went for a walk last night and I really thought about it. It's like kids today are subjected to a lot more crazy shit. Like if you look at like all the school shootings that are going on, or like war and like a lot of violence and people wanting likes on Instagram or social media that are violent. It's kind of like, does that have a huge factor in this? But at the same time, it's like, I feel like innocence today is kind of lost. Like, depending on where you go or like what environment you're in, I feel like that innocent like kid, just playing outside. Like girls today are like following the Kardashians and wearing like pounds and pounds of makeup, and like they're trying to be adults. Like 8-year-olds are trying to be like 16, 17, or 18. So I feel like a lot of that innocence is just kind of like fading away, and it's makes me sad because like if I had a kid today, I don't know, like I would try to subject them to everything I liked growing up and like make it fun, but I just feel like kids today are very serious. I don't know.
When I was growing up, I grew up with those same kind of kids, but when I grew up, it was just like different because a lot of our parents weren't around, and so we were either doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing.
You have access to
and
exposure. I don't know if it's necessarily that there's more violence in the world.
I think they're just subjected to it more.
I think that there's more exposure because
subjected,
of social media and
news,
the internet, and you didn't. When I was growing up, there was 2 channels on the TV, and we still would see the news and everything at a certain time, but
that was it. Like you weren't on your phone.
Like you said, they have their phone and. They can go on there and watch whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, when I was growing up, a lot of us weren't innocent. We lost our innocence long before, because when we were exposed to, like, a lot of my friends, we were exposed to drugs and gangs and violence at a very early age. Yeah. And the majority of our time, it's the parents are absent, they're working, they're trying to keep a roof over our heads. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, it's like, we go through our parents' tape collection and we watch things, we're not supposed to be watching, like, oh, there's a Skinamax movie here, let's watch this. Or
do they even have that anymore? Movie. Do they have Skinamax still?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. But the thing is, it's like, it's those kind of things where, like, your innocence could be lost at a very young age. It doesn't even matter what era you're in, actually.
See, the thing is, though, is that I don't think the innocence is lost, because when I was little, it wasn't Skinamax, it was the Hustler magazines that I found and things like that. But to some degree, the innocence wasn't lost because there was that feeling that you were doing something you weren't supposed to, and what you were doing was wrong and kind of bad, and you had to be sneaky. And so there was a part of innocence that was preserved because of that psychology. So the access today of just like, oh, whatever, let's go see a rated R, really violent, movie that's not really catered to, or the video games are really violent. So the innocence is lost because the acceptance of it being okay and not being wrong. You're not having to be sneaky and you know what I mean? Like, so that's, to me, that's what I think is.
I don't know. I just like when I see kids today, they're like on their cell phones and they're trying to be older. They're not like, this is just me like personally going out there and seeing like everyone's just kind of like not trying to enjoy their youth. I don't know. I think it's a very different generation, and it's like they're kind of like zombies. Like they're just like
zombie apocalypse is real.
I don't know. It makes me sad. It really does. And
when I was growing up, my mom made a deal with me. So I read somewhere when I was a kid and said Freddy's Dead and was coming, and it's gonna be in 3D. My mom said, you know what? And if you can get like, because back then if you got like S's, like in elementary, that was like really good.
Satisfactory.
Yeah, you got S's, like you got all S's.
You are just okay.
Yeah, you got all S's, you're good. Because I was a D and an F student. I never got any S's. I didn't get no A's, B's, no nothing. So she said, if you can get at least a couple of S's, we'll go see Freddy's Dead opening night. And I did. I got a lot of S's, and I was like, okay. So I showed her, like, look, I didn't fucking fake it. I didn't do anything. I didn't forge it. So here.
Yeah.
And she looked at it and was like, okay, we're going. And we went. She took me to go see Freddy's Dead.
Wait, that was like mid-90s, right?
That was 94, 93.
How old were you?
I was about 6.
Wow.
And so she took me to go see that. And then the year before, she took me to go see The Dream Child in Salinas.
Oh my god.
And so to me, it was like, again, like I wasn't really exposed to that whole, kinder trauma.
Yeah.
I was exposed to the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
To like real horrors. And yeah, I had nightmares and yeah, I was afraid, but I still wanted more. I went out and ventured. After a while, it kind of faded away because she thought it was a phase. Because I would draw like Freddy Krueger and Jason in like my classes and stuff, and my teachers would be concerned and say, "Why is he drawing this? This is not good." It's like I was like, "It's art. It's fine. It's not. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just drawing what he sees, and that's basically what you told him to do, and that's what I did." So after a while, I faded off like horror, and then I got into like action and comedies and whatever, and then I started watching cartoons, and then I started seeing all this stuff again. It's like, oh man, I miss this stuff.
Yeah, it's like a trip down.
And so I went through my stepdad's video collection, but lo and behold, he has the Dream Master. What do you think I did?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, I do miss like those horror themed TV shows, but I can't speak to them a whole lot because I was exposed to Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and The Crow and all that stuff at a very early age.
Yeah.
They showed me those movies first before they showed me anything else.
I was exposed to both as well. Like I had cable in my room, so I would like turn the TV on and I would watch stuff, and my mom was really cool. Like my dad was anti all of this. Like every time there was something, even till this day, like if I go visit them and like there's a horror movie on, turn that shit off. Like he's still like that. But my mom would take me, like she took me to see Scream when I was 8. She took me to see I Know What You Did Last Summer. She like let me ditch school to go with her and watch I Know What You Did Last Summer too. So she was like cool. She would take me to these things. She would rent Candyman.
Man, how bad did you regret that decision?
I liked it. I don't know. I liked it. But I was young. I was like 9 or 10. But, she would rent movies and let me watch them. So I was exposed to both as well. Like I would see the dark, violent stuff. But then I also love the kiddie stuff. Like, man, as soon as Goosebumps, you heard that Goosebumps theme song come on, like after school or, like watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like I loved both. I loved the violent stuff, and then I also like the fun, like scary stuff, like for kids. So we were lucky. I feel like our generation was very lucky to have what we had to watch.
Because if you watch like I woke up one morning on Saturday and tried to go watch Saturday morning cartoons. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, it is shit.
Like what cartoons?
It's bad. It is really bad.
Like today's cartoons?
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Like,
I don't even know what people watch.
They have like a 2-hour block, and then after like 8 o'clock, it's all talk shows. It's like fuck you guys.
We used to have really like they would show like Bugs Bunny, and then they would show like really cool. I don't know. Like I was a big Nickelodeon person, so like Pete and Pete would come on.
For me.
Like it would be like young cartoons, and then like Hey Dude or like Pete and Pete, and like they would mix them up, and then you'd have Doug and like Ren and Stimpy. Like, we had that stuff growing up. Like, that was badass. Now, I don't even know, like... I feel like video
Cartoon
games...
Network are not even...
Yeah.
Like, the cartoons are so cheap, and they look cheap. They look like garbage. It's like, dude, this is not what a cartoon is. I'm sorry.
I miss that old school animation, though.
Yeah, but they said that, it's too expensive.
Why is it so... Like, I don't understand that. Why? It seems to me like... Stuff now is more difficult to do. I don't know.
It's more expensive because then you have to hire drawers and writers, illustrators, colorists, all that stuff. It's basically like drawing a live action like comic book kind of.
Yeah.
There's a really good documentary about it on YouTube about like the rise and fall of cartoons, and it shows how like cartoons go into the digital age. Mm-hmm. And that's how most cartoons are made now. That are made digitally. And it's cheaper too because you can hire like 4 like graphic designers and just have them there. It's like, oh yeah, here you go.
Another thing too, I know we were talking about this last week, are video games. I kind of feel like that took over a lot of the horror stuff too.
Yeah, I would think so too. I remember um, my stepdad, he bought Resident Evil, he bought the first one, and he's like, this is going to be awesome. And then we played it, and it was like, holy shit, this is fucking great. I remember one time, I had my friend Carl, and he was spending the night to play the game with me. I was like, dude, you play. I don't want to play. I'm scared. Like, you play. Because it was like the first horror video game that I've ever played. And it's interactive. And so it's like everything you're doing, it's like you're doing it. It's
right.
Like,
it's like it's happening to you.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm used to playing like those the side view scrolls, like, where it's just like beat 'em up, shoot 'em up, and stuff like that. But this was an actual game. It's like, oh my god. So I had my friend Carl play. And then he got to like this one part. And then he gets into a hallway. And then all of a sudden, he walks down the hallway. And then a rabid dog jumps into the window, and I wasn't expecting it. Like, the dog just jumps into the window, like, shh, and then I get up and I run to my room and close the door.
How old were you when you played that?
That was 96, so I was about 12, 13, at least. No, 95. Yeah, 11 or 12.
Okay.
Because I was the youngest out of that crew. Out of Carl, Torres, and Alex, I was the youngest.
But then don't you think like video games kind of took over? Like that's like people get like gaming addictions and
eventually I felt like it did, and once like the graphics and the stories got better. I recently played The Evil Within Part 2, and holy shit, that is nightmare for fuel. That is
I heard it's scary.
It's a scary fucking game. Like, there's a lot of things in there. It's like you can do a bunch of double takes. Like, wait, I just saw something there, but there was something there. But you look back, it's like it's not there no more. It is pretty scary, and yeah, to an extent, I feel like games did take over. I think, but you can't buy those games if you're like 15 or 14. You have to be at least 16 to buy those kind of games.
How do they know? Like,
I think now they kind of. If it's a rated M, then you need to have someone mature to buy that game.
But what if you look like you're older? Then they don't like you can't card like a 14-year-old, I mean, unless you have like a high school, like they give you those cards when you go to high school, like an ID.
Yeah. But I know like that they tried it because parents got mad because like kids were buying Grand Theft Auto.
Right. Yeah.
And they were
that.
like, "What's
a huge deal?"
And they were like, "No. Like, why are you selling this to like a 16-year-old? No." And it's like, well, dude, it's rated mature for a fucking reason.
And like video games are not cheap.
No, they're not.
That's another thing too. Like, how do kids? I don't know. Like,
I feel it's more interactive.
So do you think kids just want to be more stimulated today because of technology?
Yeah, Yeah, I think so. I think it's because that they're thinking on their feet. They're wondering, oh, where's this monster coming from, or how do I solve this puzzle on time? And I think to me they kind of get not a rush from it, but they feel like, oh man, I'm actually doing something. Like, it's interactive and it's an immersive gaming, really.
Another thing too is like, us growing up, like we didn't have like TiVo. Like TiVo became a big deal, but you had to wait for a show to come on. Like, it would come on once a week, and like you couldn't wait, right? And you had commercials, so you had to wait for that too. Today, kids are like, I don't watch this. Like, I'm gonna watch Netflix, where I could just constantly, like I don't have to wait. I can binge it all like tonight if I wanted to. So I think, I don't know, is that like another factor too? Is they want so much content right then and now? Like, they don't have the patience to. I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Streaming services add like a whole nother thing to it.
Yeah,
but
it's like another dimension.
Again, it's like, parents, if you're on your parents' account, they control what you can see or what you can't see.
True.
If they log on their friend's account, then that's a different story. To me, it's more geared to, I feel like they'd rather get to the hardcore stuff, and then eventually they'll find it later on.
So you think like they'll be like they want the more mature stuff now, and then like once they get older they want like a lighter side?
Look at the group that we follow, the teenage werewolf club.
Yeah,
those are all young kids, and they're all young kids. Mm-hmm. But if you watch the movies that they're looking at, they're watching movies that we grew up with, and they love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're discovering it for the very first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are kids out there that are like, but I feel like they're going into the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
Like the very, like the horrors. And then they're working their way back to like, oh, okay. Because these are the kids and these are that's the generation that's going to champion movies that we forgot about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're championing, like, Basket Case and Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they have access to find that stuff now. Like, us in the 90s, we didn't have, like, the internet was barely there. Mm-hmm. You actually had to go to the video store and, like, look at the VHS covers. Like, we couldn't Google, like, 70s horror movies. We didn't have that growing up. You know,
yeah.
We had to legitimately go to the library or like go to the
and these
video
kids
store.
too are also discovering Joe Bob Briggs, and they
that
are
I'm
loving.
Shocked at. I'm really surprised at that.
They are loving Joe Bob Briggs. You know what I mean? They're like, dude, this is awesome. I really want to get that person that runs that club on their show.
We should,
because I really would like to talk to them about what their mission is and how they're and what the purpose is about it. You know,
how old are they? Do you know?
She friended us actually.
Yeah.
Becky. Oh man,
can't remember. I'm Becky something. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Are they like under 20?
Unfollowed.
You think?
Yeah, for real, right?
You're getting your social.
Becky Tyler Tofwick.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, TW. Yeah. I'm not gonna try.
Butcher it.
Yeah, but Becky Tyler. So you know.
Shout out to Becky Tyler.
Shout out.
You know what I mean? And so she's the one that's putting these kids up on game. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I do feel like these kids are gonna find these movies eventually. You know, after like we're gone, these are gonna be the kids that are gonna be carrying on our the tradition of like
keep the campfire going.
Yeah. So.
But that's the thing, and like to throw it back. So yesterday I got to check out Goosebumps 2. And I actually really, really liked it.
Right?
I wasn't because I didn't care so much for the first one. I thought way too much was going on. This one, they simplified it more.
It was a singular story.
It was a singular story. You had like a group. I don't know. I just felt like it was like I could totally watch that again when it's Halloween.
Yeah, I prefer that one over the first one.
I agree. Sure. I really liked it. And
I like.
I don't know. Jack Black was kind of useless in it though. Like I don't really think they.
It was more like a funny thing though.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was supposed to be. I felt, but they messed up because I even talked about it on the show where they showed Jack Black in a TV spot.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be a hidden cameo, and he was just supposed to show up at the end of the video, at the end of the movie. Uh-huh. It's like, yeah, I saved the day. It's like, no, we did. We got it, dude. We cool.
Yeah. Like what? And then R.L. Stine made a cameo. Dude, R.L. Stine does not age. Like
I think he's a vampire.
He looks the
I think
same.
He's a vampire for sure.
He looks the same. Like if you go and look at like him in the 90s, like and then today, he looks the same. Like holy crap. But yeah, so that was like it was like a fun throwback, and
you know, and I watched that in the theater, and
were there a lot of kids there when you saw it?
No, there weren't a lot of kids.
What the hell?
Weren't a lot of kids. There was like a couple kids sitting next to me with their mom.
So it's like people our age.
And then another family with their kid and a couple. And it wasn't a packed theater. I think I went at the 4:00 showing too.
Oh, okay.
So I went consciously knowing like, man, if I go to 7:00, it's going to be packed with kids. Like, nah, I got to go at the 4.
Yeah.
But the little girl next to me, she was all talking to her mom. I was like, oh my God, look, she's doing this, doing that. And she's like the little girl was like literally doing commentary on the movie.
Oh.
I thought it was funny. I mean, it didn't bug me because like she added to it and it was funny and she knew her moments. Like, so I thought it was pretty hilarious. And then when I saw a house with the clocks in its walls,
I really want to see that.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, that was packed with kids.
Oh, that's good.
That was packed with kids.
And that's Eli Roth, which is
and a mixture
crazy.
of adults too. And it's just like, you know, the thing is that one, all the kids were just shh.
Really?
Yeah, they were all good.
Did they seem like they were into it?
Yeah, they seemed like they were hella into it too.
So I'm glad like that stuff still exists, like where something parents and their kids can like enjoy. That's like
thing is, those two movies they don't pander to the kids though. And I think that's what people. I think when they try to do like kid horror things now, they try to pander to the kids. They try to like like, hey, you know, like they talk down to them. These two movies, they just kind of like, kind of went for it, you know.
Well, what I liked about Goosebumps too is like they're kids, but they were like in charge. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like. When you look at like kid movies, they're kind of like, no offense, but dumb, or they're just like these, like they had an action, they had a purpose, and I feel like kids like to resonate with that because they like to rebel and they don't like parents to tell them what to do. You know, it's kind of like the Goonies and E.T., like they're their own leaders. Mm-hmm. So I feel like as long as you have that formula in kid horror stuff, it works.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but I do hope we get to see more of that stuff.
Me too.
Because I think, you know, that's needed, and it also keeps the genre fresh.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, especially when you have like younger eyes trying to watch this stuff. It's like, well, you can't show them Nightmare on Elm Street, but we can show them House with the Clock in its Walls.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty gnarly stuff in there, and they deal with some gnarly things. And
that's what I heard. Yeah, it's like a good balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the little kid is really good in it too. So
cool. I really want to check that one out.
But yeah, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I really hope it continues, you know, because then going back, we had a lot of horror books, which we're going to talk about because they adapted them into TV shows. And today you have like the heavier stuff, right? Like the teen, like Twilight stuff. That's not really for like little kids. That's for like 15, 16 plus. So I don't know. Like I feel, and you have the Harry Potters, but that's more
fantasy.
It's more fantasy,
but mixed with horror, though.
Yeah, but long, super long. Like you open a Goosebumps book and you can read it in one night. Harry Potter, you can't read that in one night. You know what I mean? So
no, you can't.
You can't. I can't even read that in one night now. So I don't know. I just like, I think it's up to people our age and like within another 10 years to keep that nostalgia, keep it going for the next generation.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially with the revival with Are You Afraid of the Dark looming.
Which is kind of like on a stall right now, I hear, though.
Yeah, so, but, you know, they're going to try to but they're trying to make it a movie. So
I know.
I think that might be good. If Nickelodeon and Paramount can work out those rights, I think it would work.
I hope so. And then they're going to do Fear Street, which I'm super excited for. So
I think that's slated for October.
I hope the girl from Stranger Things is going to be in it, which is cool, the redhead. But yeah, so like keep that going, you know. And they try to bring R.L. Stine back in like the early mid 2000s with Nightmare Room. I don't know if you ever got to watch that.
That was on
or Haunting Hour.
Yeah, I think it was Haunting Hour.
That was another one that they did, and those are actually pretty good.
But again, geared more to YA though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not like
adults.
not like under 10.
Not to kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another thing too that I wanted before we break off into our topic, not our topic, but into our top 5, is that when you watch cartoons back then, they had a lot of creepy shit.
They did.
They had a lot of creepy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Darkwing Duck, they kind of flirted with. He flirted with like the undead.
Mm-hmm.
Like Morticia was literally a vampire or a witch, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
DuckTales dealt with a witch, and she was pretty fucking scary when she wanted to be. Batman
forever.
Batman dealt with some really adult oriented themes. You know, Goofy, dinosaurs, all those kid shows back in the day.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, they weren't afraid to take a risk and show some creepy shit and to scare you.
Yeah. Do you remember Gargoyles? Were you ever a Gargoyles
Yeah,
fan?
yeah.
I loved that. I was thinking about including that, but I was like, it's kind of more fantasy than horror, but it has horror elements.
But it works though because, you know...
That had some heavy stuff though.
Yeah, it dealt with a lot of like racism, sexism, and, you know, pretty much dealt with classism as well too.
I love that show.
That was a really good show.
So good. The intro to that, yeah.
Yeah, once you saw like I remember when I saw like the movie, because the pilot was like a movie, and then it's just like, oh my god, I can't wait to see this series.
It's so good.
But yeah, you could have added on that list and it would have worked because it is a horror show if you really think about it. It's just disguised as something else.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I wanted to add about that. So.
All right, so we're gonna go into like each of us are gonna do our top 5 favorite horror shows that we grew up watching with. So, do you want to start off?
You want me to start?
Sure.
So,
and I didn't put mine in order, by the way. These are just like general top 5.
So what year was it for both of you? would this be around when you were watching these shows?
Oh, these are all different. Like these start 1990 to like 2000.
These would, for me, it would be like from the 90s, all 90s.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember when I was in school, 2 o'clock, I'd rush home and I try to catch the beginning of DuckTales and then try to watch Gargoyles at 4.
Oh, yeah, Gargoyles was 4 because I would watch Power Rangers and then watch Gargoyles. Yeah, that was like my thing. Like when I was like 4 or 5. Yeah, I was super into Power Rangers.
So I want to give a notable mention to one of my to a cartoon. Fuck, I just had it too, and I was just looking at it. God damn, where'd it go?
A mention like it's not
Mighty Max.
Mighty Max.
Mighty
Okay.
Max. So Mighty Max.
Honorable mention.
To Mighty Max. This is pretty much about the kid who goes into. Oh, you know what? We didn't even talk about creepy toys.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after this.
All
this. Mighty Max. So it's basically about this young kid who finds like a ball or like a portal, and he goes into like different realms to like solve to stop this guy. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a blonde kid, and he has like a big red M and a red hat, and he has like 2 people with him. And that show was pretty fucking creepy, and I don't think that show has gotten a lot of love.
I never got super into it. What was that? Cartoon Network?
No, that was actually when I saw it. It was on UPN.
Oh my god, UPN! Oh my god!
Right?
Do you remember when CW was WB?
I remember when WB was UPN.
So now CW is UPN and WB, right? That's right.
And so but the toys from Mighty Max were really good. And then another notable mention, Skeleton Warriors.
Oh, I never got to check that out.
So it's basically an army of skeletons take over the world, and then these rascals, the humans, are trying to like take over. It is a really legit cartoon.
Nice.
Fucking funny as hell.
What was that on again?
When I saw that was on CBS.
Oh, CBS. Okay.
But that was a Saturday morning cartoon. So.
Okay, cool.
CBS didn't really show cartoons during the week, just Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But my number 5 will have to go to one of the most controversial movies in the 80s.
Uh-oh.
And how they made this a cartoon is fucking beyond me. And of course, I'm talking about Lloyd Kaufman's creation, The Toxic Avenger, which is now renamed The Toxic Crusader. They didn't want to call it Toxic Avengers because it sounded too violent.
Wow.
But yet you had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound violent. Toxic Avengers. That sounded pretty cool.
It does sound cool.
But Toxic Crusaders is actually pretty cool too. I can't hate.
Sounds more oceany though, like a crusader in the ocean. I don't know. Like,
I mean, they were in Jersey, so it kind of makes sense. Or
dang, that's a diss at Jersey.
But how they made this a cartoon, I don't understand how this is just. I mean, if anyone watched like because by this point, Toxic has already had 2 sequels.
When did the cartoon come out? Was that late?
1991.
Oh, 91.
And it lasted 1 season, 13 episodes, and it was off the air.
Oh.
But it was syndicated, and they replayed it.
Yeah.
But it lasted 1 season, and then it finally got off the air in 93.
Okay.
And it was terrible. I was like, dude, this fucking sucks. Because I remember watching it and thinking, dude, this is an awesome fucking show. And that was on, I want to say that was on Fox back in the day.
Fox had some great shows back in the day.
Fox had some really great cartoons.
Really good cartoons.
And they had like offbeat ones too, you know?
Yeah.
But this one, this is a little trivia
that
I read, and it made me so mad and made me almost want to cry.
What?
So, the creators of the Toxic Crusaders and the Ninja Turtles were friends.
Oh.
And they were talking about doing a crossover. And it could never happen. Toxic got off the air before it could happen.
That sucks. That would have been really interesting. That would have been really interesting.
Imagine that. The Turtles and Toxic in one, like in a 2-part episode.
How would they do that, I wonder? Like, what would the scenario be?
Well, So you would have to set it up in Toxie.
Yeah.
So you would have the main villain, because the main villain basically lived in the sewers, and so you would have the main villain come in and try to take over Manhattan. But then he runs into Shredder. Like, hey, if we team up, we can illuminate everyone. We can take over.
That'd be interesting.
And then the Turtles get wind of it. They go, and then they fight Toxie and his crew. It's like, no, we're all on the same side, man. And then it'll culminate in the Ninja Turtle show, and then big old fight with the Terror Dome.
And then they'd have a pizza party at the end.
Yeah. And then the mob would come in and ruin it. But I don't know. I thought that would be amazing.
That would have been pretty cool.
So Toxic Crusader would be number 5.
Okay.
I watched a few episodes, and I think it still holds up. The animation is actually pretty great.
Nice. I should check it out. Where can you stream that?
You can find a couple episodes on YouTube right now.
YouTube. Is it okay quality or?
Yeah, kind of. It looks like someone actually got it off the tape, but it looks alright though.
I've seen so many of those the last couple days.
I'm kind of used to it now.
I know, right? It makes you feel like you're back in the 90s.
It's like, man, where's the tracking button?
Press rewind. All right, so my number 5, I'm going with the OG of kids horror shows, and that's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? So technically this came out late 60s and the 70s, but in the 90s they would show it. I don't remember what network it was on, but they would show it like on the weekends and then sometimes after school. So this is like what really kind of got me into like kid horror stuff. This was like the OG. Like I remember the one episode I loved. I just moved to Monterey at the time, and the first episode I saw was the sea diver episode. So I was like, oh, and like the town was foggy, and like where I was living was foggy, and it looked just like that. So I used to love like watching that. And the thing about Scooby-Doo that I loved, it's the humans that are the monsters. I always liked that as a concept.
That was always a good twist.
You know what I mean? So it's not like a scary creature. It's humans that are the real monsters. So you don't kind of realize that as a kid, and like now looking back, it's like, oh shit, like people are the evil ones.
Running real estate scams.
Right? I know. If it wasn't for you pesky kids.
My favorite episode was with Batman and Robin.
Oh, those were good. They had like a crossover. Yeah,
they actually had the tape of one of their episodes, and it was Batman and Robin meets Scooby-Doo, and it was like the like one of the earlier ones, and it was actually Adam West doing the voice.
That's cool.
I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like I don't know what happened to it. And I was like, motherfucker.
I remember that. I didn't like it when Scrappy really annoyed me.
Scrappy came in the 90s as some way to hip up like Scooby-Doo.
But he was so annoying.
He always wanted to fight.
Yeah, let me at him. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, he would annoy the shit out of me. But
and the thing too is like, if it wasn't for Scooby-Doo, how many of us would have gotten into the genre?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were the OG, and I don't know. I love, like, I still watch Scooby-Doo. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it's so fun. I don't know.
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, that's the best. So that's mine. That's my number 5.
Scooby-Doo's all right. I really didn't like Scooby-Doo. I liked some of the shows, but some of it was just like, whatever. Like, I just couldn't sit there and watch it.
Why?
I don't know. I thought it was boring sometimes.
Wow.
But, I will admit, though, there are episodes there that I really like. They have some really good movies, like the one when they go to the Ghoul School.
Ghoul School is great.
That was a fucking awesome movie.
That was a cute one. It's like all the daughters of like monsters.
Yeah, and they have to like set up a volleyball team or whatever. Like, what the fuck was going on?
It's cute. Like, it was super cute.
So that's yeah, the movies and some of the episodes were good. As far as the actual movie, that's debatable for another time.
The live action.
Yeah.
One? God, don't even get me started.
We'll say that for another episode.
I love the actors in that though. But
we'll get Elise on our soapbox soon. Don't worry. Okay, so my number 4 actually goes to another adult property that somehow got 2 sequels, but only one of them is really well known, and it's only because the actor that's in it is well known now, and it's George Clooney. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I used to love that show.
You know what? I'm actually gonna end this episode with that fucking theme song because I watched that.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Tomato.
I love that show. I always want to like have pizza or like tomato sauce when I watched it. Like, remember Lunchables had the little pizzas?
Yeah.
I would eat that shit and watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Man, I do not want to live in a world where I can't get a fucking slice of pizza.
I know.
With tomato sauce.
I know.
It's like, oh my god, that's pretty gross.
Was that Fox?
Yeah, that was Fox.
Okay.
So, here, I wanted to read this because this is pretty interesting to me. Let me see if it's still on here.
Wait, George Clooney.
George Clooney was in the Attack of
the movie, right?
Yeah, he was in
was it like
The Return of the Killer Tomatoes in 1988.
Oh, those are his Roseanne days, weren't they?
That was pre-Roseanne.
Huh.
Because I think Bishop came in midway. Right?
Think so.
But yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was released in 1978. Return of the Killer Tomatoes was released in 1988.
Okay.
It aired on Fox Kids on September 8, 1990 to November 23rd, 1991. And let's see. God damn it, where was it? It was the first cartoon that Fox aired.
What?
It was one of their first cartoons.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it got syndicated. Because I remember, like, it would play in the mid-90s because I would watch it.
Yeah, so it says 4 years later, repeats were aired on Fox in April 96.
That's right.
To August, and it was also shown in October. And repeats were aired on Fox Family, which is no more.
Fox Family. Oh, I miss Fox Family.
From 98 to 2000.
Aw.
And that's when that channel went under.
Fox Family is now called... Oh, shit, what's it called?
Disney.
No, they called it something else. Freeform.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's called Freeform. Because I remember Fox Family would show, like... Do you remember Werewolf on Campus?
No. No, I don't remember that.
That show only lasted like 2 seasons, I think, but it was a horror show for teens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was comedy though. He was like a teenage werewolf and like he had a cool goth friend that would like help him. But that was on Fox Family and they would show a bunch of like I remember like their Halloween stuff was like really cool. Like they would show Bobby's World, I think. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So this was born and debuted as one of the first Saturday morning cartoons on the Fox network in fall of 1990. And there were a lot, and if had you not seen like the movies, you would have missed a lot of the jokes.
Yeah, that's true.
Another interesting tidbit that this is actually canon to Return of the Killer Tomatoes. This actually takes place 5 years after that movie.
Oh, okay.
So that's why when you see the first episode, like I watched the first episode, and it's like, and the uncle's talking about the tomato wars, and how he has PTSD like a motherfucker, man. Let me tell you, he is completely out there, and so everything that happens is canon to Return of the Killer Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. But the only thing is that they changed the characters around. So Chad, who was an adult in the movie, is now a preteen.
Preteen, that's right.
Tara, who was the love interest, is now kind of the babysitter. And the only thing they ever done was like hug.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's for kids. Come on.
Yeah, but still, you could tell though, like watching like the first few episodes, like he kind of has a crush on her.
Yeah.
But it'll never get there. Fun fact: John Ashton actually returned to play Professor Gangrene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, John Ashton was actually Professor Gangrene in the movie.
Gangrene.
And he came back to do the voice for him.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a lot of cool things in here. Gangrene actually created a tomato. He created the equivalent of Elvis. And he called him Johnny Tomato.
Oh my god.
And Tara was starting to fall in love with him. He's like, hey, baby, let me sing you this song real quick. And then he's like, you're a tomato, Johnny. He's like, yeah, I know I'm a tomato. My name is Tomato.
Wow.
And so she's like, no, I think you really are a tomato. It's like, no, I'm not a tomato. And she grabs salt and she just dumps it on him. It's like, I'm sorry. See, you're a tomato.
Sounds like Johnny Bravo. Hey, mama.
I wonder if that's where they modeled them after.
They probably did because it's very similar. The animation was really similar to the Ghostbusters cartoon.
The real
The real Ghostbusters. Didn't it look similar? Like,
yeah, it kind of did. They mixed it up with a little bit of CG, especially in the intro. This lasted 2 seasons, and this ended like abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
So right around the time that they finally found a way to get all the... So in the beginning of the second season, tomatoes take the world. They take over.
They take over the world.
They take over, and they break Gangrene out. Chad, Tara, and the uncle all have to break him out and say, look, we need your help because they can't do it. Yeah. And the only reason that the professor agrees to it is because his right-hand man, Zoltar, who's the big tomato, and oh my god, he is fucking hilarious. He switches accents like from episode to episode. Like the first episode he's Russian, and the next episode he's like straight New York. It's
my god,
pretty fucking hilarious. So they overthrow him, and they take over the world, and the season ends without no solid conclusion.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like all of a sudden there's an episode where it sets up like, oh yeah, we know how to defeat these guys.
Yeah.
But then it ends, and then boom. Like seriously, I wonder if it's about. So I can't find any of the second season on YouTube, but you can find a couple episodes of the first season on YouTube right now.
Okay, and it's okay quality?
Yeah, it's actually good quality.
Okay.
But I'm trying to look for the second season because it said they mixed it with CGI animation, and I'm wondering how that would look.
That'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially if it's completely animated based.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture that actually. Huh.
So I don't know, like it's really early stages, like Reboot. You remember Reboot?
Yeah.
So I was wondering if they took like some of those parts and put it in like the animated form.
Oh yeah.
But I'm trying to look for that second season online. I can't find it yet. But
man.
Yeah, but Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I am definitely ending this show with that fucking theme song. So
you
just be warned.
I love that song.
And I love that intro.
Yeah.
It looks there's a sequence in the intro where like there's a girl in the telephone booth and she's yelling, and then a guy's up there banging, and then the tomatoes just come in and take her away.
The giant tomato, yeah.
I honestly thought that was, every time I saw that when I was a kid, I always thought that was a fucking apple because it just looked weird.
Oh yeah,
with
it's all red and shiny. With
his big ass teeth and shit.
Yeah.
And everyone else has like sharp teeth. But that's my number 4, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Your number 4, okay. All right, so my number 4 is one that a lot of people don't really talk about anymore, and I used to watch the show all the time. Ghost Rider. Did you ever watch Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it was on PBS.
That's probably why I didn't watch it.
You didn't have PBS?
No, I had PBS. I just never watched PBS.
But they showed a lot of stuff for kids, like Arthur and...
I hated Arthur.
I loved Arthur. But it lasted from 1992 to 1995, and guess who one of the main stars was?
Who?
Ellie from Pet Sematary. The original.
Really?
Yeah, she was one of the main stars. And I think even Samuel Jackson had a cameo. Yeah. He was Reggie Jenkins. But this show was great. Like, it was so diverse. It had everybody in it. And it took place in a city, and there was like this ghost that would send them messages, like to help them solve like local mysteries, what was going on. And they had like all different kinds of episodes. One of my favorite ones was Attack of the Slime Monster. It would just get like this gross like ooze, and like the kids were like freaking out, like what was the ooze coming from and like taking over. But yeah, they had a bunch of different, just cool arcs, and it was just like really interesting. I don't know where you can find this now. You could probably, I know the intro and stuff is on YouTube, but actually the first episode's on YouTube. Ghost Story episode 1. So that's on there. But yeah, I mean, this is such an awesome show. Like, I can't believe you never even heard of it. They would show episodes again later in the late 90s, even after it was done.
There's also a radio series on BBC School Radio.
It would show
2006.
It would show on BBC, and then...
No, so it says in the summer of 2006, BBC School Radio produced a radio series of Ghost Rider for primarily school students. Character names of the TV show were retained, though voiced by new children. Music theme song were also kept, and a musical jingle for the children to recognize Ghost Rider's appearance was created by Sesame Workshop.
Oh, that's cool.
and Ghost Rider's identity. Ghost Rider producer and writer Kermit Frazier revealed in 2010 that the Ghost Rider was a ghost of a runaway slave during the American Civil War. He taught other slaves how to read and write and was killed by slave catchers and their dogs. His soul was kept in a book that Jamal first discovered in the pilot episode. And when Jamal opened the book, he was freed. Yeah.
It's kind of like the themes were more mature, but it was definitely for kids. And they would deal with, like, you know, local issues. Like, they would deal with a bunch of stuff that's, like, really topical. And it would, like, teach you. It was cool because it would, like, teach you lessons at the same time. But again, I think a lot of PBS shows do that. But yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah, so this also aired on UPN Kids.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, in 97, and then
that's probably where I saw it.
And then in 99, syndicated on ABC for a short time.
ABC, yeah. Yeah, the theme song's cool. It's like Ghost Rider.
I might remember that theme.
Do you?
I might remember if I hear it again.
Am I allowed to play it on here, or will we get in trouble?
No, you can play it on here.
Let me see if I can. Ghost Rider.
So it lasted 13 episodes.
Yeah.
In one season.
We don't know where he came from.
He just showed up one night.
What is that thing?
He's not an alien.
What is he?
We think he might be a ghost.
Be serious.
You can see that?
He wants to be friends with us. He can't hear and he can't.
It's cool though. Like, it's very diverse, and you know, it's like something that you don't see a lot. Like,
yeah, no, I mean the theme didn't. For some reason I was picturing, I was hearing something else, but no, I don't think I ever seen that.
I think you would have liked it as a kid. You probably would have liked it.
I don't think I ever seen it because I would have remembered like Ellie, like, oh, that I know, because I saw Pet Sematary,
and she's not as annoying in it as she is in Pet Sematary.
I don't think she's annoying in the original either. She's just a kid.
I do. But little kids, let's face it, can be really annoying.
I didn't think she was annoying at all. She seemed like a normal kid to me, but maybe because I have kids.
I find kids annoying sometimes, so that's probably why. Like, shut up. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm totally kidding. But yeah, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna see if I can find some on YouTube or something like that. Or it might be on Prime.
I don't think it's on Prime. I don't.
Well, doesn't hurt to check.
It's not on Prime, okay?
Okay. Miss Know-It-All. All right, so.
What's number 3?
Number 3, another adult-oriented property. Can you guess this one?
I think so. Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beetlejuice.
So, this one actually makes sense to be, transformed into a cartoon.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
So this one out of the other two makes much more sense to be a cartoon. You know what I mean? And you know what they did with Beetlejuice and Lydia and how they flipped their relationship and made them friends.
Yeah, they weren't like a weird couple.
Yeah, I felt like that was really smart.
Yeah.
I had seen the movie before I saw the cartoon, and then when I saw the cartoon, I was like, it didn't take me out of it, but I was like, oh man, like, he doesn't sound like, Michael Keaton. He doesn't sound like that. But after a few episodes, I kind of got used to it. I was like, this is actually pretty fucking good. And it's pretty fun.
That was late 80s, right?
No, it was...
Was it 89?
Oh, yeah, 89.
So I was like 2 years old, but they did show it, I think, later again, right? Because I remember seeing it. Like,
yeah, it aired on... So it went from 89 to about 89 to 91.
But I thought they reshowed it again later in the 90s because I.
Oh yeah, that was on Nick.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
okay,
it was on
that's
Nick.
where I saw it.
That's where you would see it. I saw it on ABC on Saturday mornings because I would have to flip back and forth between Beetlejuice and SWAT Cats. I had to make my mind up like, which one do I want to watch?
Channel surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't Tim Burton involved in this too?
Tim Burton. So let's see. It was developed and executive produced by the film's director Tim Burton. The series focused on the goth girl Lydia Dietz and her undead friend Beetlejuice as they explore the netherworld.
Imagine if they made him a couple though. Like that would have been weird.
That would have been weird. That would have been
right?
weird.
I Gives me the willies for some reason.
So in the TV series, him and Lydia are best friends. Instead of Lydia being depressing, they just made her goth.
Yeah,
and instead of being the afterlife, they called it the netherworld.
that's right.
So they kind of changed things around so that it doesn't. Yeah, so they kind of changed things around where it's like, oh, we're not talking about death, we're talking about another world.
Yeah, they made it lighter for kids.
And the cartoon and the animation was pretty fucking solid.
I liked it. I liked how colorful it was.
And also how you get introduced to more of the characters in the netherworld and how Lydia plays a big part of that. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was really, really smart on their part. And it was smart writing.
It was.
And I thought Lydia was not helpless. She was actually someone that actually does something.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, because I feel like in the Beetlejuice, she's not a damsel in distress or like a woman in the freezer type. She actually does something, but I feel like in this one, she's more proactive.
She's more restricted in the movie.
Yeah.
Because he controls everything.
But in the cartoon, she journeys into there with him, and then she helps him get out of things. And a lot of times, the reason he gets out of shit is because of her.
Because of her, she's like the savior. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, I'm saving your ass.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You fucking it up for me. But I really like Beetlejuice, and I thought it was a really good cartoon.
I actually want to rewatch it.
There's a couple episodes on YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's also on Prime.
Is it?
Yeah.
It would have been cool though if Winona did the voice and if Michael did the voice. You know, that would have added more of an element to it, I think.
Yeah, the guy that did Beetlejuice was Stephen Omelette, and the girl that played Lydia Dietz was Allison Court. Mm. And I felt like those two actually had really good chemistry.
They did.
I felt like those two actually had really palpable chemistry. And this lasted for 4 seasons.
That's pretty good.
All 3 seasons were on ABC, and then on the 4th season was Fox. But yeah, I definitely liked the Pierre guy.
Yeah.
The dude with the what's it called? The beret and the
beret.
The crop top, and he's a skeleton. He's like, Mosey! So why you always fucking messing with my painting?
It feels like
That's my French accent. Pretty terrible.
It's not a really good one. Not a really good one.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Shut up. I'm trying here. I'm trying to be entertaining. Shut up.
Oui.
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 Mercy. All right, so that's my number.
That's number 3.
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
Merci.
Beetlejuice.
All right, so my number 3 is one that I'm actually hearing people talk about again, which is making me happy. It was this show called So Weird. Did you ever watch that?
No.
So Weird was on the Disney Channel from 1999 to 2001.
That's probably why I didn't watch it.
Lame. Disney Channel showed really cool stuff in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Disney was... No.
They did. No, they would show cool Halloween episodes of stuff.
No, they didn't.
They did.
No, they didn't.
They did.
No, they didn't.
Anyways, So Weird was aimed for kids and preteens, and it was like the young version of the X-Files. It was really cool. So it starred Mackenzie Phillips, who plays the mom, and she's in a rock and roll band. So she's on tour all the time. So she brings her 2 kids on tour with her. And on tour with her is the bus driver and then her manager. And her manager has a hot son that's friends with them. So he comes on tour with them. I
want to cut you off, but I have a feeling our next 4 episodes are all going to be Canadian based.
A lot of them are. A lot of my shows are all Canadian based. The main character is Fee, who's the daughter. She's really into the paranormal. And she's got a laptop that she takes on tour on the bus and everything. And she has a website. And basically every town they stop in on tour is a mystery. So this show had just everything. It had UFOs, it had Bigfoot, it had ghosts, it had demons, it had premonitions, it had astral projection. They had a lot of really cool topics. There was stuff on there I didn't even know what. This kind of got me into the paranormal actually, because when I was 12, I'm what the hell is astral projection? So they would show stuff that I thought was really interesting. And I feel like whoever wrote it did their research on paranormal stuff, but they made it in a safe way for kids that wasn't overly scary, but just enough, I think, for kids to get interested into the paranormal. It was kind of the preview for what you would get into the X-Files when you got a little older.
And it says a lot of the music was actually original songs
By Mackenzie Phillips, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
from,
know.
like,
Do you
the
know
first-
who she is? She was she's the daughter of Mama. I can't talk today. The Mamas and the Papas Phillips.
No.
Huge controversy. You
I
don't
know who Mom and the Papas are, but I didn't know she was a daughter.
you don't know that whole like controversy?
No.
Oh, it's pretty fucked up actually.
Okay.
Her dad like had sex with her. It's pretty fucked up. So,
Whoa.
yeah.
Gnarly.
Pretty gnarly, but she got like into drugs and stuff. So this show is kind of like her comeback in the late 90s. But she was getting it. Like I actually really liked her. And Henry Winkler produced it from Happy Days.
I was actually gonna mention that too.
Hey. But yeah, I really like the show.
Into that right there.
It's really hard to find. It is on YouTube, but it's like horrible, like VHS recording, like really bad.
Do you think the reason it's hard to find is because of her backstory? Because of her background, it came out. Because it says that it wasn't known, but it didn't come out till like a couple years ago.
Yeah. But her drug issues were big at that time, I think. Like she was trying to be clean, I think, and make a comeback. Because she was a child actor. She was in American Graffiti. Like she's been in a bunch of stuff. So this was kind of like her like having a comeback. But I don't know. It's I don't know why it's so hard to find, because I'm hearing a lot of people talk about it again, especially like the intro song. They're like, man, when this intro song came on, like I would get the chills in the darkness and the light, I think it was called. But so like I said, you can find shitty quality on YouTube. But one thing that kind of pissed me off though is the main actress stopped after like the first season.
Well, according to Wikipedia, she stopped because she wanted to pursue feature projects.
So then they had like her cousin take her place. And I was kind of like, I mean, like those episodes were good, but they weren't as, I don't know. I felt like the original actress had more of a, her vibe was just more on it.
She was in Nightmare Room.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
What episode?
The Holler. She played Vanessa.
Oh, that's cool.
She was in Bust in Public.
The James Spader one?
Yeah. All Grown Up. And that's
But she doesn't act anymore. She's done, like she retired.
But I mean, it seems like after she left that she got consistent work. I was worried if I clicked on her and she didn't do anything after. I was like, oh, well, you're kind of an asshole now.
Right. But she was good. Like, I actually wish she stuck with it because I felt, I don't know, I think that's kind of like what hurt the show too, is why it didn't last that long. But it did have a huge fan base. Like, I knew friends that were into it and, you know. But it's a really good show. I was rewatching some of the episodes the other day, and they had a really good alien episode where like everyone loses their memory and they're trying to like figure out what's going on in the town. And then the Bigfoot episode I really liked too. But,
oh, Bigfoot episode?
Yeah.
Sorry,
wow, am I boring you or something?
Yeah, you are.
Wow.
Like,
Anyways,
you just talk.
I talk less than you do.
I like to hear my
Bitch.
voice.
Obviously. But yeah, anyway, so that's my third. So weird.
Yawn. No, so weird. I don't know. That show just sounds so weird.
Because it is so weird.
So weird.
And yes, I do think it was filmed in Canada.
No, it was. It was.
Yeah.
It was Canadian based.
And that hot blonde guy is in it that everybody loved in the 90s.
James Spader?
No, James Spader was 80s. Eric Van Der Veen or
Who
whatever.
the fuck is that?
He was in it. Brink. Did you ever watch Brink?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, Princess Diaries.
No.
Anyways, he's like a hot young blonde. He's always like, dude. He's like, always
That
like,
describes
dude.
everyone in the 90s. Get the fuck out of here. What?
Cowabunga, dude.
Okay, well, moving
Moving
on.
on.
This is another adult-oriented. You know, here's the thing. And before we get into this one, here's the thing. How the fuck is it that you have all these adult-oriented movies and properties, and how did they get away with doing cartoons?
Because they can.
You know, you had Rambo, RoboCop, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Beetlejuice.
RoboCop was a cartoon?
RoboCop was a cartoon. So was Rambo.
That must have been short-lived because I don't remember that.
It lasted 2 seasons, and guess what channel it was on?
Fox.
No, UPN.
Fucking UPN.
UPN had some really gnarly cartoons too as well.
I
so.
don't remember a RoboCop cartoon, and I loved RoboCop.
RoboCop was on Saturday morning, so It was on at 7.
Who gets up at 7?
That's why it was on at
Saturday.
7.
Come on.
That's why it was on at 7. And it was pretty gnarly because he did pull out his pistol and started shooting fools. So,
what?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this. They need to bring UPN back.
There's an episode on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
I want to Google what does he look like? I want to Google.
Oh man, he actually looks like RoboCop.
RoboCop. Who does the voice?
I don't remember, but
Peter...
it's not Weller though.
Oh.
It's not Weller. It's someone else that sounds like him though.
RoboCop cartoon. Let's see.
The animation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right.
I see his gun too. What the fuck? Wow.
Instead of shooting people, he shoots robots.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I think it lasted about a season and a half or something like that, and then it got canceled.
They even have his mouth right too, his lip.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I've never seen this.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's how who? I mean, is it because of merchandise? Is that what it is? You want to sell toys? Is that what it is? You could have just made a Robotop figure and that shit would have sold regardless.
Oh man, they have a RoboCop mug. That's pretty awesome. I'd have that. That's cool.
Oh, that's dope.
That's really cool. That's I don't know, maybe because they wanted stuff parents were into something, they'd want their kids to watch it, so they made it try and kid friendly. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because I saw RoboCop at a really young age, 4 or 5.
Yeah. That was a gnarly movie too.
Yeah.
And that scene with Alex Murphy, with the shotguns, that's hard to watch.
It's a violent movie.
Yeah, that's cold, you know what I mean? It's not it seems over the top, but it is very cold in the way that it's executed, I feel.
Yeah. Huh.
But again, this one though is.
But this is your pick?
No, that's not my pick.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just using it as an example, how all these movies are adult-oriented movies, and yet they become kid-friendly later on.
I'm for it.
And it kind of blows my mind. It's whoa, that's pretty crazy.
They should do an Exorcist cartoon. Come on.
But instead of the demon possessing a Reagan, they're actually friends and they're going into hell. And they're the venturing hell or purgatory.
Oh my god.
Kind of like the Magic School Bus.
Yeah.
I love that show. That was such a good show. The Magic School Bus.
So hey, let's go to heaven and go fuck with St. Petersburg real quick.
Little adventures. Little demonic adventures. So what is this adult?
Okay. So this cartoon was based on one of the best horror TV shows ever, and one of the best comic books ever, and it is Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, okay.
Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
So I've been rewatching them this week.
I watched some of them too.
It's on Tubi.
Oh, it's on Tubi?
It's on Tubi.
Okay. There's a few episodes on YouTube and I was watching. There's one with the pilot episodes on there about the cat, and then there's another one with about the kid who gets payback on his principal and his bully.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one.
It's pretty dated though.
It does look pretty. It does.
The language is pretty dated.
Yeah, and the animation too. I don't think the animation does it any favors though either.
I don't mind the animation.
I think the animation doesn't look as crisp as some other cartoons that I would watch back in the day. You could totally feel. I understand what they were going for with the shading and all that, making it look like a
comic book.
Yeah, make it look like a comic book. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't work for me though.
I think the Crypt Keeper is super cute though. He's really.
I
cute.
feel like his segments are the strongest.
Yeah.
I really do feel, especially the way that he's drawn.
Yeah.
I feel like he is the strongest. And the funny thing is that they modeled him after the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Oh, I could see that.
That's where they got the idea from. So hey, how do we make this guy look presentable? Because in the show, he looks like shit.
Yeah. But he's cute. One of the episodes I really liked, I don't know if you remember this one, they would kind of repeat characters sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it was the two girls that are friends, and their car gets broken down, and they end up at this abandoned hotel. Or it's kind of like I can't pronounce her name. La
Llorona?
A shrieking woman.
Yeah.
She's really scary looking, and she haunts them and is crying and after them, and it turns out she's that way because her child died and they got separated. I'm like, that's a really cool episode. So that one's on Tubi. I definitely recommend.
Another good one is the one with the kid and the security guard in the museum.
The wax one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
That's
liked
a
that one.
really good one.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of these things, like, you know, they tone down on the gore and the blood and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty fucking scary. Just by the imagery and the way that it's executed and the shadows, it's just like, whoa, I can't not believe this is a Saturday morning cartoon.
Their topics were pretty cool, too. Like, there was another one where this girl just wanted to be, like, really pretty and was always comparing herself to, like, the popular girls. So the Crypt Keeper gives her cream, and she puts it on, and, like, overnight she becomes really pretty. But all these bugs, do you remember that one? All the bugs are after her. That one freaked me out.
That was a good one, but did you know that one was actually, not actually, but that was actually based on one of their earlier episodes from Leia Thompson?
Oh, really?
Remember when she puts on the cream? And she puts on too much, and then she becomes old?
She becomes old. It reminds me of an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, actually. Yeah.
Maybe that's where they got it from, too.
That's a good one, though.
But, you know, the thing with the Crypt Keeper cartoon series is that they dealt with a lot of, you know, kid issues.
Yeah.
You know, bullying.
Bullies were a big one.
Fitting in.
Yeah.
Being honest, stuff like that. And the cool thing about it is that unlike the adult series where it was just like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
This one actually kind of taught kids lessons like, you know what, you know, be a good person. Otherwise... You're going to get fucked up, you know what I mean? That's just basically what it is. And it had a moral compass, and there was a moral lesson toward the end of it.
I think they did it in a really smart way.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, it lasted 3 seasons, but the 3rd season looks like crap.
They brought it back, right? Like the late 90s?
Yeah, 99. That was on CBS.
That's right.
That one doesn't look good. You can totally tell where the budget went, and it doesn't look like the budget made it to the artist.
The earlier seasons were definitely
the first 2 seasons were definitely really good, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's all on Tubi. Good quality, so it's not like shitty quality.
I do have a couple trivia notes. A child psychiatrist had to approve the scripts to make sure that they weren't too scary for kids.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see. And to market the Crypt Keeper to children, the show's creators had to somewhat water down his appearance, his characterization, and his puns. John Kaiser would go on to say Nevela created a kinder, gentler personality for children's Crypt Keeper and feels a little uncharacteristic at times. So he didn't feel like he didn't feel like the Crypt Keeper, like being the cartoon, was just like, man, it's just not working, you know? But John Kaiser actually did the voice from it, which was pretty cool.
I'm glad they did that because it felt more, I don't know, it felt, if it was a different voice, it wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have, like, it just kind of would have been a pass, you know?
They were originally considering to use a live-action puppet for the Crypt Keeper as the host, but eventually decided the puppet was too boo for very small children and went with the cartoon likeness instead. And let's see, there's another one here that I thought was pretty interesting. In the pilot episode, While the Cat's Away, is among other episodes in the series that are based off the EC comic stories from the 50s.
Oh.
So, like, if you have like those old EC comics, some of those stories are going to be based on those.
Huh. What's your favorite episode? Do you have one?
I don't have one right now. I would have to go back and watch a few of them. But I do remember there was one about a troll in a bridge.
Is it the bridge one? Yeah. And the kid's like afraid to cross it.
Yeah, I do remember liking that one.
That was a good one.
But yeah, and another thing, it's like, Tales from the Crypt as a cartoon. Who would have thought that was a good idea?
I don't know.
Ginger Snap.
Yeah.
to scare kids.
Hell yeah, you gotta scare kids to teach them lessons. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, what's yours?
All right, so my next one.
Grimm's Fairy Tale, right?
What's that?
Isn't that what Grimm's Fairy Tale?
Exactly. Exactly. Grimm's Fairy Tales would teach kids, you know.
Just show them a Disney cartoon.
The original Disney cartoons?
Yeah.
All right, so my next one is one I really love, and it was so short-lived, was Erie, Indiana.
I was wondering when this was coming up.
Yeah, so Erie, Indiana, I was like really young when this came out. It came out 91 to 92, and it was on NBC. And they did re-show it I think in the 2000s, and then also, or like, no, like the late 90s, I think, because I remember watching it at that time. And because Hocus Pocus was such a success, and the main star is Omri Katz, who was in Hocus Pocus, so they would show it like all the time around Halloween, like October. I love this show. The opening sequence is really creepy and would like freak me out, like the crow and then like the eyeball. This one I also feel.
Wait, I thought the opening sequence was him coming out to the street and then he's seeing everyone all in sync.
It is, yeah. No, they showed different clips.
Oh, okay,
so they have...
that's my biggest takeaway from that, because I remember him walking down the street and then everything is
Yeah.
all in sync and he's just like.
And then the basketball players are all like the balls at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would show like really weird stuff happening in the town, but then it would end with like the crow and the eyeball. This was very similar to So Weird because it was like a young people's X-Files. So it's like Omri Katz and his family are living in this town and everything's just weird. It's kind of very Twilight Zone-ish. He becomes friends with like this young kid who like believes him like, hey, things are weird around here. Like all these weird things are happening. So each episode would follow like something strange. Like one I really like is like the housewife like is acting all 50s and it turns out like everyone's getting the same thing, and like his mom who's like very messy and like is very 90s, very 90s mom. He doesn't want her to become like this 50s like everything's perfect housewife. So that was a really good episode. But so they did try to bring it back, but it just like wasn't the same. I don't know, like the vibe just didn't feel the same, and the kids were different. I don't know.
I think when they try to bring it back is that well, the thing that worked about Erie, Indiana when it first aired was that it was just creepy.
It was very creepy,
and it
but
was just
safe
like you didn't
for
know.
kids.
Yeah, but you didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And it also had like the luxury of being on a separate day as Goosebumps.
Right.
Goosebumps was on weekdays,
Yeah.
and then Erie was on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And, watching those back to back, it's like, holy shit, they're two contrasts.
Right.
They're different movies. They're like, or different shows.
It seemed like they had a good budget, though.
Yeah.
Like, compared to, like if you watch Goosebumps and stuff, like, you could tell, like, the budget. It's very similar to, like, a motion picture.
Which we're going to talk about pretty soon. Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, with Erie, it's like, it felt more of a story driven, like, of an overall story, where like Goosebumps was just an anthology. It's just
right.
Like, they're all in a box.
There's more arcs, I think, in Erie, Indiana, and you get to know, because he's your main character. You like get to know him, right? You get to like identify with him. So they did have this on Amazon Prime, but it only lasted a month, and then they took it off, and I was like, "What the
Not
hell?"
even a month. It lasted a day.
I tried to catch up because I was like, "Oh man, I really missed the show." This was like last year, I think. And literally it was gone.
You text
Boom.
me and say, "Hey, Erie's on." I was
yeah.
like, "What?"
And then I think you went on. You're like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, no. There's actually two Erie, Indianas. So
yeah.
one of them's down, and one of them you can get, but you have to pay.
You have to pay.
$20.
But this was included if you have Prime, and I was like, "Oh yes!" And they took it off. But it's just a fun show, and like, I mean, I recommend this even to kids today to watch. If you can.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good show, and I think it's creepy, but it's not scary.
It has its cult following for sure. Like if people our age are like, "Oh man, did you ever watch Erie, Indiana? Yeah, that intro would scare me." Like everyone remembers it. Like it just being planted in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I really miss that show. But yeah.
And I'm guessing I know where your number one is, and I guess what number one is.
Yeah, ours are very similar. Our number ones.
Yeah,
so you go.
So. As you were talking about Goosebumps, and Goosebumps is going to be my number one.
Yeah.
Goosebumps, you could totally feel the budget watching it now. Back then, you couldn't.
Right.
Because I remember watching, recently, like the first 2 seasons, and I got up to the Attack of the Mutant. And it's the one with the comic book dude. And you see it, it's like, dude, this looks bad.
That's my least favorite one.
Yeah, that's my least favorite one, too.
I just couldn't get into that one.
There was such good potential.
Yeah.
And the way they ended that first episode is like, oh, where are they going to go with this?
Yeah.
And then when they go with it in the second episode, it's like, sorry, no.
Okay, so Goosebumps is like, I want to talk about this one too, because that was like my show growing up. I mean, I'm a huge R.L. Stine fan. I read all the books, and then when the show would come out, me and my friends were so excited. I think it was on after school.
Yeah, it was on like 4.
And then they would show it on weekends too. And then later on, they would show it at Nick at Night sometimes. But all right. Favorite episode? What's yours?
Night of the Living Dummy.
Night of the Living Dummy Slappy.
Yeah, has to be, because you know what? Honestly, I watched most of them, and to me, that's the one that's the scariest.
And he's creepy. He's creepier looking than the Slappy
creepy.
in the movie.
Yeah, and the one in the movie, I understand why they did that, because they wanted to make him appeal.
Yeah.
But the one in the show
is fucking creepy.
Is fucking scary.
To this day, like, he freaks me out.
If that fucking thing was in this room
watching
me,
he's sitting in that chair.
I'd leave.
I would too.
I was like, dude, I'm out of here.
Like, his eyes, and he's got like red hair.
You can totally, it feels like his eyes are following you and they're not even moving. It's just that weird.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good episode. The camera one was another good one with your boy
Ryan Gosling, who's also in an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode as well.
Yeah. And to me, I feel like those two episodes were really good. There's another good one. I think it's the second episode, and it's I think it's either the werewolf or the vampire one. It's when the kids find out, like, they're, oh man, our parents are vampires. Yeah. But then the librarian turns out to be a werewolf, and then they end up eating them.
Yeah, for dinner.
I was like, what the fuck?
That was a crazy one.
Yeah, that's the one, right? I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because that's the same one where the girl comes into the library and she sees the librarian eating the bug, right?
Oh, no. That's a... Wait. Yes, you're right. That is the same. I always thought those were two separate episodes for some reason. She's afraid of the librarian, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's creepy looking and he eats tarantulas. He's like a bug.
Yeah.
He's a weird, like, bug, and then it turns out the whole time her parents, like, eat things like that, and they're
the girl who cried monster.
Yeah. That's a great.
And that was the first episode of the first season.
That was a great twist of an ending, I feel.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. And like, I remember watching it, but I don't remember being like, ah. Yeah. But I remember watching it as an adult, and I was like, fuck, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. My favorite is the Haunted Mask. That was technically like a special. But that was my favorite book, and that one was just creepy. And the mask, I feel, still holds up. And I don't know, like, that's a great one to watch around Halloween. It's just like, it puts you in the mood, and it's really creepy for a mask to take over your personality and your body. You know?
I honestly think like the first season is probably like the best.
First season's really good.
I think the first season is really good, and I say that because I feel the first season wasn't afraid to be scary and creepy. I felt like when it came to the second season, they kind of toned it back just
I feel
a
like
little.
They did that too.
Just a little, because there's an episode. Which one was Headless Ghost was alright.
I watched that one last night.
And there was another one.
It's so 90s, like that guitar, like the sound effects and stuff, and like his hat. It's so 90s. I love it.
Oh no, it was a special. It was Camp Nightmare.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites too.
I would have to. I think I would have to watch that because I'm probably thinking of something else.
Terror and Tower of Terror, or what is it? Tower.
Is that the one in London? Yeah,
that's a good one too. That's another special.
Yeah, but I think Goosebumps is a really good one, and I really do think down the line we are gonna have like an episode where it's Goosebumps versus Are You Afraid of the Dark, because eventually we're gonna have that conversation.
I mean, that's like my number one pick is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like this, so many people love this, and that ran a long time, 1990 to 2000, I want to say.
Yeah.
And this is like the ultimate like Snick, you know, like they would show this at Snick or Nick
right after
Night.
Clarissa.
Yeah, Clarissa. na, 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 na. But this is like great. I feel like Are You Afraid of the Dark was more mature. It was like what you would watch if you were like 2 years older than like your brother that watches Goosebumps. Mm-hmm. It was like the next step. This one actually showed really freaking terrifying episodes. My favorite one that still scares me to this day is Dead Man's Float. That's like a really popular one. Is
that the one?
Pool?
Yeah, okay.
There's like an abandoned pool, a secret pool at a high school, and this like science geek can't swim, and he tutors this one girl who needs help with science, and as a trade, she'll teach him how to swim. So they rebuild the pool once like they discover it, and it turns out like there was this kid, like there's this bloody skeleton kid in the pool and like haunts the pool, and that one it's really scary. Like that made me not want to go swimming when I was a little kid. And it's funny because like all my friends were like, yeah, man, like that was like the scariest episode. That one, and then another one was The Ghastly Grinner. which is kind of similar to the comic book one of
Yeah,
Goosebumps.
I tagged you on that.
Yeah.
And I felt like that episode, like that one,
Yeah.
that's how you do that concept, I feel
Yeah.
like. Because... And that motherfucker was legitimately scary.
Still is.
He
Still
is scary.
is.
The way he looks like a fucking Joker.
And he just like appears. Yeah.
In the Attack of the Mutant, the dude looks like the Tick.
Yeah, he was like...
Like, if you guys know what the Tick is, like, he's like a big superhero.
It's like comic-y.
In blue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't take him serious. And the guy that plays that mutant just... He's not menacing. He tries to be Robert Englund. He tries to be Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, like
But
Agumon.
he doesn't pull it off. I
But
feel like the Grinner, though...
The ghastly Grinner pulls it off for sure.
He has his own voice,
Yeah.
and he's just very fucking scary.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, like, a lot of, like, stars were in this. Like, even Clarissa herself was in a really good episode called Tale of the Frozen Ghost. That was a really good episode.
Was that before or after?
I think she was doing Clarissa at the same time.
Oh, at the same
Yeah.
time?
Before Sabrina. This was, like, way before Sabrina.
Okay.
But, that was a good one. Ryan Gosling was in one called some radio station number. I can't remember. But it was
Is
like,
that the one where he's talking to the dead person?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Around the same time, I think he did Goosebumps because these were both in Canada.
Canadians.
But yeah, like they're Laughing in the Dark was a good one. The creepy clown one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That one's good. Because there's just so many. Oh, the Prom Queen, Tale of the Prom Queen. That one's one of my favorites. Where it's like these two dudes like to hang out in a graveyard.
But here's the thing, too. It's like, Are You Afraid of the Dark had that privilege of being on at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Whereas Goosebumps was on at 4 p.m.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on a weekday at that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like had Goosebumps had that same kind of leeway and they aired at night too, like maybe on a channel like Nickelodeon or TNT or something like that, I feel like those episodes could literally be like an hour long and be even more scarier than what they are.
Yeah, and Goosebumps was marketed to younger kids, where I feel like Are You Afraid of the Dark was for like
But
12
those
and up.
books were not for young kids at all.
They were. I read them when I was like 7.
I read a couple of Goosebumps. I read Horrorland, Night of the Living Dummy.
Oh, Adventures in Horrorland. That was a good one.
There was another one too. There's a one. I think it's the St. Cheese and Die.
Take that, yeah. The
You know
camera.
those. That's the picture with the photo
With
and
the
the family
skeletons.
and the barbecue, right?
Yeah, and their skeletons. Yeah.
Those books are not for kids.
But
'cause
they
there's a-
were.
They were,
marketed
but,
for kids.
but what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of heavy themes in there. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That would go over kids' heads. That's what I'm getting at. And I feel like with the show, they kind of not dumbed it down, but they simplified the story. It's like, hey, this is what's up.
Yeah.
But I feel like the most scariest one that they showed like on the afternoon was Night of the Living Dummy, because I think that one was just fucking crazy.
Did you see the sequel to that one?
No.
Return of the Living Dead Mummy, with Hayden Christensen is in it. He's really young. Slappy shows up again at this other family, and then Hayden Christensen becomes like a dummy. It wasn't as scary as the first one.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
It was
one.
a later season.
I think it was probably like season 2.
Oh, do you remember the episode where these two like kids go trick or treating, and there's like these bullies, and their friends that moved come back, and it's like trick or treating forever, and it turns out the friends are aliens that are giant jack-o'-lanterns that eat people.
Oh,
Do you
Attack of the
remember that?
Jack-o'-lanterns?
Yeah, do you remember that one?
That's on here.
That was the heavy one. I feel like, holy shit, they're aliens and they eat kids.
I'm gonna have to watch that one because I don't remember that part. I think I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm over it, and then I didn't watch the conclusion to it.
I like that one. Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns.
I do feel like though, Are You Afraid of the Dark did have a little bit more leeway because
They did.
of the time,
Yeah.
and also because they're marketed to preteens and young adults,
Yeah.
pretty much. As to Goosebumps, where it's like 7 and up.
Right. But I also love the intro to Are You Afraid of the Dark is so great. And like
It's so creepy.
that creepy sound when the
That-
fire
the chair.
Like holy shit, when you heard that you were like shit goes down.
I remember spending the night at my friend Carl's house, and him and his brother had bunk beds, and we would sleep on the floor. And he had the TV and the Nintendo, and the closet was right here by the right next to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like, "Okay, man, it's 10 o'clock, man. Let's get everything. Let's go." We would get a slice of pizza, and then just hurled up
Yeah.
and just watch it and then like turn off all the lights and watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it's just like, and I remember like watching it, you know, with friends. It's like, this shit's pretty fucking awesome. It's
So
like,
awesome.
to me, it's like I have not seen any of those episodes since they aired. So I don't
What?
remember a whole lot of them, but I do remember certain things and certain key bits to it.
Yeah.
And that's why I said like I don't want to do that episode yet because I want to track these episodes down and watch them.
You can there are some on YouTube. They used to have like
but
all
they
of them.
they are the second season and are not with the original kids though. That's the one.
No, so like they had a newer season with like new kids, but like the original kids. That's the other thing I like too about Are You Afraid of the Dark is like you felt like you knew them, like they were your friends, like because they would all sit around the campfire and like you got to know them all, even though they're not the main story. They're just the storytellers. I really liked that feel of it.
The thing was is that you knew that they were friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you knew that they were part of the club.
Yeah.
It's funny too because I always wondered this too. Even as a kid, I wondered like, do they hang out at school or something? I'm just wondering, or is this just like one of those weekend things? You know what I mean?
It made me want to have my own Midnight Society group.
Right?
Yeah, like it was just really cool. And I think I read somewhere that because you know they have the campfire and they throw like the
dust.
I heard that's coffee creamer. I'm
Really?
not sure. I'm not 100% if that's true, but that's what I heard. It was coffee creamer. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Isn't that funny?
That is pretty funny.
'Cause they're
That
kids,
explains
they
why.
can't- Yeah.
I don't know. I really do. I like both these series.
Yeah,
But
me
I would
too.
have to watch like the first 2 seasons of The Afraid of the Dark
I
just to
think-
compare.
I think you would like Are You Afraid of the Dark better.
I mean, I do
Just 'cause
remember.
it's darker.
I do remember. I really liked Are You Afraid of the Dark, and I remember I couldn't stop talking about it when I was a
Yeah.
kid. And then when I saw Goosebumps, I couldn't stop talking about that. And I remember watching both at the same time. And
Yeah.
I just couldn't pick a favorite. I thought they were both good, and they were both good in their own right.
It's like Red Vines or Twizzlers, you know.
Neither. Fuck those.
But I feel like Are You Afraid of the Dark also dealt with very serious topics.
Again, it's like Tales from the Crypt Keeper. How
Yeah.
they dealt with moral compasses and like they had like a lesson.
There's
like
always a
moral
lesson to learn,
Are You
yeah.
Afraid of the Dark had that as too. Goosebumps. It's like there's some lessons in certain episodes.
Yeah.
But a lot of the episodes is like, well, it's like pretty much a horror trope. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Are You Afraid? Like Night of the Living Dummy. There's like no lesson there.
No.
But the Haunted Mask, there's a lesson there, and
Yeah.
that's to accept yourself.
Except be yourself,
You know?
exactly.
And so, Goosebumps had a hit and miss, but they knew what episode to do it with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They knew their mark, yeah.
And unlike Are You Afraid of the Dark, I felt like every episode was a moral compass.
Yeah.
But the way they set it up and to get you there,
Yeah.
was the payoff.
Exactly.
And especially when them breaking coming back to the Midnight Society
Yeah.
and wrapping up their thoughts. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know, like it was fun, like going down memory lane to watch this, and I still try to hunt for a lot of the Are You Afraid of the Darks that are hard to
Canada
find.
has all of them on
I know.
Netflix right now.
Why
It's
don't they
like
do that in the U.S.? Like what the hell?
rights issues.
Goosebumps is on Netflix. I heard they were gonna take it off, but they're keeping it on.
Yeah, because a lot of fans wrote in, it's like, you better not take that shit off, dude.
Take off The Office. Put Are You Afraid of the Dark on.
No, don't do that. Hey, no. Shh. No, we don't want your angry letters. No. She doesn't speak for me.
Take off Friends and The Office.
Oh my god, you're really trying to get us fucking flooded with hate mail, aren't you? God damn. Why don't you just get rid of Parks and Rec then, huh? Just do that.
Not a fan of that either. Sorry. I think it's dumb.
I'm tired.
Dumb.
God,
Anyway,
Parks
so
and Rec is the shit, man.
let's recap. It's so stupid. And Chris Pratt is really annoying on it. Okay,
Chris
let's recap.
Pratt is annoying. That's what makes it good.
All right, so my top 5 were.
Wait, isn't his character supposed to be kind of annoying?
Yeah, but he.
And a
like,
leecher.
A
It's
good
just-
actor.
I don't know. I'm not into it. I don't know. All right, so my top 5 were Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Ghost Rider, Erie, Indiana, So Weird, and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Mine were Toxic Crusaders, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Beetlejuice, Tales from the Crypt Keeper, Goosebumps. It's funny because you could totally tell our parallels.
Yeah.
Because yours are more live action.
That's true. Yeah.
Yours are more live action. Mine are really cartoons and
Yeah.
really like on that. And it just goes to show you just like how far our tastes are. You know what I mean?
Well,
Not far, but
I'm just more
like,
mature than you are.
get the fuck out of here. If you were so mature, you wouldn't be sitting here talking horror things with me. Get the
Oh,
fuck
come
out.
on.
Horror geeks.
Wow.
We're geeks, all right? Don't try to pull that card
And
on
this
me.
is coming from a guy wearing a Cartoon Network shirt, by the way.
Hell yeah, Cartoon Network.
Oh, snap.
What's your favorite Cartoon Network cartoon?
New or old one?
Old.
Old?
New shit sucks.
Top Cat.
Not
Top
Powerpuff
Cat.
Girls?
Oh, an actual Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Fritz the cat?
I like Fritz the Cat.
Fritz, that's all.
Powerpuff Girls was like my favorite.
I like Powerpuff. Samurai Jack, be for me.
And Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Because he was hot.
It'd be honestly, it's a toss up between Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack.
I love Dexter.
I thought those two were really good.
Wasn't Dexter the same voice of Chucky from Rugrats?
I don't know now. I'm gonna have to
I
look
think
that up.
Didn't she passed away, right? I'm pretty sure that's...
Don't know.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm pretty
see.
sure.
Do-do-do-do. There we go. Shut up.
Samurai.
You do better. Yeah, Christy Cavanaugh.
She died, right?
2002. Oh, wait, no, wait. Oh, hold on.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, she died in 2014.
So sad. Yeah, but she did Chucky, right? Yeah. Rugrats was so great. I loved it.
Oh, she was Gosling in Darkwing Duck? Yeah, and she was Chucky.
Yeah. I love the Muffin episode. Do you remember the Muffin Man episode of Dexter?
No,
The dad gets like
that.
addicted to muffins. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that episode.
I love that episode. I don't know why I remember that one.
All right, so that's our trip down memory lane. We are going to be taking a break next week, so no new episode next week, unfortunately, people.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. To our 2 listeners out there,
Yeah.
we will be back in 2 weeks or in a week and a half. I got a schedule change, and so we are going to...
You're messing everything up, man. It's all your fault.
Yeah, it's all my fault. It's all my fault.
You owe me like a pizza for that.
Get the fuck out of here. I'll buy you some Little Caesars. How about that?
Little Caesar
Right.
sucks.
Oh my gosh, Little Caesars.
I want like round table. Like
Oh, get...
nice big round table.
Okay, no.
Vegetarian gourmet.
All right, show's over.
Woodstock.
Show's canceled. Let's go.
Woodstock.
No.
Pesto.
No.
jalapeno.
Avocado slices.
Real quick, what's your favorite pizza?
I
have
like
a pesto addiction lately.
pesto's good, but I'm a vegetarian, so I like just like tomato sauce,
Straight up
mushrooms.
vegetarian.
I love mushroom and olives. Like those are my
Isn't
two.
pesto veggie now?
It's cheese, right?
It
Dairy.
has some dairy.
Oh, it's
It has
dairy?
some dairy.
Okay.
Yeah. Depends if I want to be bloated that day, but you know, any vegetarian topping.
You vegetarian, what about you?
What?
He likes greasy strangler
Yeah.
pizza. I want more
Oh my
grease.
gosh. They should have a horror themed pizza parlor.
Oh
The
my
greasy
God.
Strangler.
Oh my god.
That would
It's
be
just
like
it's-
giant sausage just laid across the not even sliced up.
Oh my god.
It's just like
Greasy
rolled around the
cheese.
pizza.
So gross. Grease toppings too. You want grease toppings on that?
A side of grease.
A
Yeah.
side of grease.
A side of grease, but it's not grease. It's something else.
That's so
It's
gross.
olive
Something
oil.
else. What?
I don't know.
Jizz.
Just,
Jizz
oh
pizza.
god.
Creamy and then you can have creamy cocktails.
Oh my god, this show's
This
gone
show's
off the
gone off
rails.
the rails. All right.
All right, so we'll be back in a week and a half, folks. On 7th, we will be talking about the Weeping Woman.
Don't fuck up the name.
That's why I said the Weeping Woman.
Say it. You could say
La
it.
La Llona.
You gotta like roll
No,
the.
you don't roll the L's. You don't do that.
Sound like a cat.
You just sound like you're purring.
All right, so that's our show, folks. Hope you had a nice trip down memory lane with us. For your host, the Boogeyman.
And Ginger Snap. Stay scary.
Bye.
From ganglings I've come forth to treat the right red monsters of which we speak, except when he has a security leak. Tomatoes, tomatoes! better shoot.
Tomatoes!